Hi everyone, this is Coach Justin. Thank you once again for the opportunity to serve you and to really help you to awaken your self-doubt and to crush it. So today, I'm actually here after this seminar that I shared with you, or this 1 hour talk that I shared with you. I'm actually here to do just this. There was so much of engagement, so much of enthusiasm, so much of questions shared during this 1 hour talk together. So there were few questions, about 12 questions that I was not able to answer. And for this section that I've just recorded here is to help you to do just this, to serve you and to really answer these questions that you have asked to me. So here, I'm going to go on with the question number 1. Is it normal if someone can change from one persona to another? Or maybe he or she is changing depending on situation. Is it possible and good to do that? Yes, it's possible for you to change from one persona and to another persona, and it's normal. We all have these 5 persona that I shared with you: the judge, the protector, the pleaser, the neglector, the headmaster. We all have this persona in us, and sometimes in certain situations one will kick out. It's just normal to have this persona, this self-doubt. The reason why I put a persona, a figure to them, is for us to easy to identify with them and to react to them, or to respond to them. That's a better word, to respond to them. So it's perfectly normal for you to have this persona, and it's all right for you to deal with them. It's not good or not bad as well. The thing is, we need to understand is how do we deal with them, and that's the whole 1 hour about. So I move on to the next question. What are usually the main cause that creates us to have self-doubt, or how to find the right mentor and coach to help us? So the main reason why we have self-doubt is because we focus on the lies. We focus on the lies. L-I-E-S. What I mean by lies is the limited idea we entertain in our mind. Let me share you a story. And this story is about my mom. My mom was a school teacher, and she was teaching a class. She was teaching a class. She was teaching a class, and in the maths class, and she found out that one of the kids was really slow in the class. And she went and approached the kid and asked, why are you slow in maths? You know, I'm trying all these different methods, strategies, I'm paraphrasing over here, but why are you slow in class? So my mom was trying to engage with the student and try to understand the root cause of it. And the student, to my surprise, this standard 2-year-old kid, if I'm not mistaken, told that my parents told me that I was born prematured, and that is why I'm not good in maths. Now, can you believe it? Can you believe that this kid is slow in maths because he's born premature? And you know that is not true. That is the lies that we need to eliminate out in our lives. The lies we entertain, the limited idea we entertain will cause us so much trouble. What are the lies that you are entertaining right now? Some of the lies were in this 1 hour course that we had together as well, was that I'm not good enough, I am afraid. These are the lies that are killing us, and these are the lies you entertain. Remember, the limitations you fight for, you get to keep them. So fight for what you want rather than what you don't want. So that's the key here. Let me add on to that, is to really find out about your dominant question. You know, when I asked the question, what is your dominant question in this 1 hour talk we had together, and I found that so many of us have these questions. It's like, why am I reaching this goal? Why am I unlucky in my life? Why am I not the CEO yet? Or why am I not progressing in life? Who am I? Why am I here? How can I improve? These are some of the dominant questions. Remember, these dominant questions direct our focus, our behavior, and our attention. Imagine asking, why am I so unlucky all the time? When you ask this question, you're going to find all the reasons why you're unlucky. That's the brain, that's how the mind works. You know, ask a stupid question and your brain will give you an answer. It's like, why am I here? Or because you choose to be here. Or why is this person so angry at me? Or why am I such a failure? And it will give you all the reasons that you ask for. So your mind will always gives you the answers that you seek. So ask a better question. And that's what this 1 hour we had together was about, to identify what's your dominant question and change the dominant question to an empowering question. My dominant question once was, why is this happening to me? Why am I getting into this trouble? I keep asking some sort of that dominant question. When I understood the power of dominant question, I changed it. I changed it, why is this happening to me, to why am I so grateful? Why is God and the universe always helping me to achieve my goals? The more I focus on that, the more I ask this question, the more I tricked myself, basically not just tricking myself, the more I focus, because where your focus goes, energy flows. So what you focus upon, you bring upon in your life. You focus on the grateful things, it will amplify. That's the law of nature, that's the law of the universe as well. Let's move on to the next question. Is sometimes I think we are human beings and are very vulnerable, and life doesn't mean anything. And the goal is to die at the end. How can I change that? Wow, this is a very powerful question. The words, remember, when we started off this 1 hour talk together, I told your words have powers. Now, whatever you believe in will come true in your life. That's what self-fulfilling prophecy is about. What you believe, you attract in your life. What you believe, you always find evidence to reinforce it. And that's what Henry Ford said. I can't remember the exact quote, but he said that whether you believe it's right or wrong, either way you are right. Because what you believe, you always bring upon in your life. And the thing here is that your belief is direct. You have the power to choose your belief. Remember, we are not the product of our past, and we are the product of our past, but we don't have to be the prisoners of our past. So you have the choice right now to change it. Now, you ask this question, how can I change it? Tal Ben-Sahar, he's an American author, and he shared the 5 keys of happiness, or the 5 elements of happiness. And these 5 elements, one is spirituality, second is physical, the third is emotional and relationship, intellectual, and yeah, there's the 5 keys. Let me just go through it. Spiritual, physical, emotional, intellectual, and relational. Those are the 5 keys. And in these 5 keys, he said that spiritual aspect is one of the most powerful element in life that causes ripple effects of all the other areas. And spiritual doesn't mean it needs to be religious, all right? He defines spiritually that the true meaning of significance. And the spirituality means finding the purpose. It's not the big purpose in life that we want, because the big purpose in life, it's very hard to be defined. Imagine going to a bumblebee and asking, oh, what's the purpose of life? The bumblebee doesn't understand something so huge, but as human beings, we are in different level of consciousness. We understand that without bumblebee, we wouldn't live. Human beings will not strive like we are right now, because bumblebee pollinates the field. Bees pollinates the field, and if you don't pollinate the field, there wouldn't be food. But the bee doesn't understand that. The honeybee doesn't, and the bumblebee doesn't understand that. So the thing here is the big purpose in life, it's very hard to comprehend. What I'm talking about is not the purpose of life, but the purpose in life. Now, it's not just the jumble of words, but it's the purpose in the day-to-day activities that we do. Let me share you a story. This is a story about Italian builder. Now, one kid. Okay, a kid was walking in Italy and looking at builders building a building. So he went to the first builder. He asked the builder, "Hey, what you doing? And the builder said, I'm laying down bricks. And he walked a little bit further. He saw a second builder. And he asked, hey, what you doing? And the builder said, I'm building a wall. All right, the kid said. And he walked a little bit further and he saw a third builder putting the bricks as well. He asked the builder, hey, what you doing? And the third builder said, I'm building a cathedral for the glory of God. And that was amazing, because this is what it truly means, the purpose. Identify your purpose for any single activity. If you can really identify your purpose in the day-to-day activities that you do, it has ripple effects to everything in life. Imagine having such a meaning for your own life. I mean, you have to find a meaning in everything that you do, but what I'm trying to say is that when you have deep, meaningful reasons to do certain things, you will feel more engaged, you will feel more enthusiastic, you will feel more joy. So when you have something like this, the reason that I do my work is to basically make a difference in other people's life. That is where you have an engagement. You have a meaningful connection as well. So let's move on to the next question, which is how to create good habits. I think I answered this in the question, but just to summarize it, please read the Atomic books. Yes, it's right over here on my counter. The Atomic books, it's a very good book. But just to summarize it, to build good habits, first you need to identify what habits do you want to build. And then there are 4 laws of building good habit. The first law is to make it obvious. Make the habit obvious. To make the habit obvious, you need to have a good cue. A good cue means something that is visible to you, that reminds you to do it. And second thing is that you need to have a behavior, the actions that you want to be repeated anytime, the specific location and a specific time. That is the first law, making it obvious. So make it obvious for yourself on what time I want to do it, where I want to do it, and why you want to do it, because the why is the most important thing, having reason. And the second law is basically make it attractive. That's second law. And the third law is make it easy, and fourth is make it obvious. Question number 6 is, what can we do so we don't revert back to feeling negative even after trying this out and work for a bit? All right, so all these 3 behaviors, or these three habits that I shared, you know, what if it doesn't work? Well, the trick here is to make it work, and how you make it work for yourself. That is the experimental basis that you need to discover for yourself, and that will be good if you have a coach to discover that. However, the first thing is to make a lasting change, is to change how you use your body. Have you ever been for a bungee jumping? Or maybe have you ever been skydiving before? When you are going for this kind of extreme sports or extreme activities, you use your body in a totally different way, and you experience totally different sensations in your body. The problem is when we have habitual pattern towards a certain stimuli in our environment. We have habitual pattern towards procrastination. We have habitual pattern of fear. We have habitual pattern of self-doubt. And we use our body the same way towards addressing that. So change how you use your body. What I mean by change how you use your body, now Dr. Amy Cuddy, she has a very good book called The Presence. I don't have the book right now, but Presence. And she said that there are 5 power poses that increase confidence, testosterone in your body, and reduce cortisol hormones in your body, basically reduce stress. And there are these 5 power poses that can actually elevate your confidence. One of it is the winning pose. Have you ever watched someone who won the Olympic or the 100 meters race? Their hands goes up like how? Yes, like this. They goes up in a V shape. Or have you ever seen Superman or Wonder Woman standing? Yes, they stand in a Superman pose. They put their hands in their hips. Now, Dr. Amy Cuddy said that when you do this for 2 minutes, basically you increase your level of testosterone, you decrease the level of cortisols in your body, and it boosts your confidence. So change how you use your body. And how do you use your body when you are sad, or when you are depressed, or when you are feeling down? You hunch down. You hunch down. And how do you breathe? I bet you breathe slower. So when you change how you use your body, you change the emotions that you experience as well. So that's number 6. Question number 7, how do we deal with negative thoughts? So yeah, the first thing you deal with negative thoughts is by focusing on what you want, or focusing on what is grateful for you. You don't attack the negative thoughts directly. You basically focus on what you want and what you are grateful for, because negative thoughts are automatic. You can 2 ways. One, you go directly, or the other is to focus, to redirect your focus on something that is grateful to you, something that you want. So that's how you do it. And of course, the first part of this section I shared is to eliminate the lies. So these negative thoughts sometimes are lies, the limited ideas you entertain. So don't entertain the lies, entertain the truth. Let's move on to the next question. How do you get rid of fear and negative thoughts of a very old trauma? Alright, this is a deep question. Now, fear is coming from a place of unpreparedness. Basically, you are unprepared for the consequences. You're unprepared for the worst case scenario. Fear is also the opposite of faith. Think about it. Fear is when you focus on something that you don't want, but you keep focusing on it and you attract it in your life. Faith is when you focus on something that you want and you believe it and you want it in your life because it's good. So fear is the opposite of faith in a small context, in another context. But fear is in our body. Fear and excitement is fired by the same neuron or a neuron pathway. When you go for a roller coaster ride, or when you go for some extreme sports like bungee jumping, do you feel fear? Do you feel excitement in the same time? Yes, because that's exactly how it works in your body. The same neurons that are fired for fear are fired during excitement as well. So your body doesn't know the difference until you make a meaning towards it. And that's the same thing that happens when we put our hands into a deep freezing cold water. For a while, you do not know that is it cold or is it warm, because it's been fired by the same neuron receptors as well, by the same receptors as well. So to basically deal with fear, the first thing we need to do is to define your fears. What are your fears? What are you fearful about? Is because if you do not know what you are fearful, you can't be prepared for it. So what are you fearful about? So define your fear. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is to define the possibilities of this fear happening. Now, what's the possibilities of this happening in your life? You might be fearful that you're going to get fired, you're going to get bombarded in the meeting. So what's the possibilities for this happening? List it down on a scale of 1 to 100. 100 means it's going to happen, 1 it's not going to happen. So list down the possibilities of it. And the third step is to prevention. List down your prevention step. What's your prevention step for this worst case scenario of happening? Okay, I'm going to get prepared for all these questions. I'm going to get prepared, everything done, so this worst case scenario don't happen, and my fear don't happen. And the fourth, if it's happened, the fourth is repair. If it happens, how am I going to address it? Now let me give you an example how I overcome my fear using this 4-step formula. Define it, list down the possibilities, and getting prepared for it, and the other one is repair. Now I have a dream. One of my dreams is to release an online course, and yeah, I'm about to release an online course. It's known as RTS, Your Road to Success. So I list down my fears. One of my fears was that what if I release my online course and no one buys it, everyone gives bad reviews about it. So what I did was I defined my fears. I define all my fears, and that was number one on my list. And then I asked myself, what is the possibilities of this happening? I listed down the possibilities of maybe a 10%, 15%. I do not know when was it. Then I take prevention steps. So what am I going to do? I asked myself, what am I going to do, Justin? And then I said, why not we do a test? And then that's when I released my course. I did a test with a small group of people, and I got their feedback. I improved my course, and then I re-released it again. And that's what I did to address the fear of what if no one buys my course? And that's the easy steps of doing it. The first one is define your fears, define the probability of this happening or possibilities of this happening, take prevention step, and if this happened, what are you going to do to repair it? So that's an example on how you can address fear or negative thoughts. What is actually apologetic? Is saying sorry a lot, even at small things, considered apologetic? And is it wrong? Well, apologetic is showing your expression of regretful for an activity. Of course, apologetic is also a religious discipline or doctrine as well, but let's not go into it. Now, what I mean by pleaser persona or the neglector persona is about overly apologizing. Have you ever been or seen someone in a situation where you messed up or that person messed up, and then they say, oh, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry about this, I messed up, and then the other person said, yes, no big deal, everything is fine, but then that person is like, no, please do some punishment, give me some punishment, you can't just let me go. How could you just forgive me for the things I've done? It's so bad. Yeah, but you might be saying, yeah, it's no big deal, small thing. No, I need to do something for me to feel good. There are some people out there who really needs to overly apologize or basically do something to rectify their mistakes, even though the other person said no big deal. That is what I mean overly apologetic, or overly pleasing, overly apologizing. And sometimes the neglector or the pleaser persona is unable to forgive themselves easily, or basically they go beyond their own needs, sacrificing their own needs, the needs of sleep, depriving themselves from sleep, from food, just to punish themselves so they feel good that, okay, I've done justice, I've punished myself enough, so now I'm worthy of this action. Now I feel worthy of moving on. That is what I mean by the neglector and the pleaser persona. They are unable to move on from their mistakes in life sometimes. They need to overly, one of the characteristics, yes, they need to overly apologize, but sometimes they just can't be able to forgive themselves easily and move on. So that's what I mean by the apologetic, yes, being apologetic, and it's nothing wrong. It's just that you are sacrificing your needs. It's easier for you to move on if faster on that part. So how to take action and not afraid of fear of losing, Now, remember the story I shared earlier about my own journey on overcoming fear? When I was doing research, I researched about Honda, the founder of Honda. So whoever asked this question, I request you, and I suggest to you, please go read about Honda, the founder of Honda, and his story. His story is extremely inspiring. But when going through my own research on fear, I encountered an amazing awakening. There was a book I read, and in that book it told, the phrase goes as this: imagine there was a genie in front of you, and that genie, or whoever is it, has cast a spell on you that no matter what you do, you are unable to fail. How would you move on with your life? What would you do, and how would you act, or how would you behave? So right now I'm asking you, if there was a genie, or was there a spell or a magic pill that you have taken and you have no possibilities of failing, how would you act in life? And if that frees you from fear, go ahead, because there's nothing stopping you from what you want. Whenever you feel fear, just ask that question for yourself. What if I cannot fail? I've never meant to fail. What would I do? How would I act at this situation? How would I behave? And how would I bring myself? So that's a question for you to think about and add. Alright, let's move on to the final question. Is the habit sustainable for all persona or only pleaser? What about overprotector? Alright, the habit is, all the 3 habits that I shared is easily applicable for all personas because it addresses the root of the problem. And the root of the problem, or the source of the problem, is our self-esteem. And these 3 habits that you have, that I've shared with you to build upon, is the basic foundation to have a concrete foundation on your, or a force field on your self-esteem. And it's suitable for you for all personas as well, especially for overprotectors. Now, overprotectors comes from a deeply rooted of fear. Now, imagine, basically, overprotectors just want to be safe, wants to be certain, doesn't want to go inside the risk and feel that fear. And imagine in your life right now, if your parents was an overprotector, every time you started to take a step, they stop you. Hey, please, kid, don't walk. You're going to fall. Just stay there. Just stay in that bubble. Don't move around. Would you be able to walk? I bet not. But that's it, is that when we protect ourselves, we are going against our very nature, because we human beings learn from mistakes. That's how we learn how to walk. We learn from our mistakes, we learn from our failures, and that's why if you fail to learn, you learn to fail. So you learn how to walk was through failures. So remember, don't go against your own very nature. Fail fast, learn from that failure, and continue to move on. The best skill that you can develop for yourself and for your kids, or even for any of your subordinates, is to teach them how to learn from failure, because that's the best thing that you can do. Look at Elon Musk right now. How many failures that he goes through, from his rocket company to all the companies that he runs. He failed tremendously, he failed publicly, and he continues to learn from that failure and develop upon it. And that's the very nature of our human beings. We learn from failure. So do not be afraid to learn from your own failures, and fail more, learn from them, and continue to develop a better self-esteem to address these fears and move on in our life more courageously. So thank you for watching this video, and thank you for all your questions. I hope I addressed all of them, and I'll leave a link below for you to connect with me in LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And for those of you all who want to join my new upcoming program or online program, RTS Road to Your Success, click the link below and I'll see you there.